What's up, guys? We're going to do a little walkthrough here showing you how to do the gun rebuild kit installation on the USP Compact, USP, and the HK45. First, you're going to remove the magazine from the gun and remove the slide catch. And once you get the slide off, you're going to remove the spring and spring guide. Then you're going to want to take the barrel and push it forward a little bit, angle the back up to remove it. Go ahead and remove the inner barrel from the outer barrel. On the side of that, there's going to be a screw. Remove that. It's going to release the hop-up unit from the inner barrel. You take that rear screw out. That's going to remove the piece of the hop-up unit that is actually holding the bucking and the inner barrel. Should be able to just push it back and slide that. There you go. Slide the hop up forward. Make sure not to lose this little bitty detent that actually does the hop up adjustment, pushing down or releasing the hop up. So you swap that out. Make sure you install it the exact same way that you took it off. Don't forget to reinstall the little metal ball or detent, and then go ahead and reassemble the exact opposite way you took the hop-up unit and the barrels apart. You have to make sure you line up the inner barrel and the hop-up unit. There's a flat spot on the inner barrel. You want to line that up so you can actually get that to fit back into the outer barrel. Reinstall your screw. Reinstall the back of the hop-up unit to hold the barrel and bucking in place. Make sure she's lined up all pretty. And there's the bucking replaced and the barrel ready to go back in. Now you're going to go move on to the actual blowback and nozzle portion of the slide. There's a Allen key on the bottom of it. Want to remove that. This is also going to free the back sight to move, so make sure you don't lose that. There's a detent on the front. You'll see a little flat spot on the front portion of the blowback housing on that. You're going to want to push that up with a flathead screwdriver or a punch. Let that come undone, and then there's a button on the back. A detent you'll push in on the back of the slide right there, and that will actually put the let the blowback unit loose. And you just dump it out, and then you can get to the springs, the nozzle return springs, and the nozzle itself. There you go. Just take your fingernail and slide the springs off the the little horns that they're on for the blowback unit. Phillips head screwdriver to remove the cup seal, and those are Loctited in, so you will have to put some torque on it. Go ahead and remove the cup seal from the mounting piece that actually holds it onto that. Replace it with the cup seal that is in the kit, and then reinstall that and the bracket and screw that holds that onto the blowback housing. Right here we are assembling the actual nozzle for the for the gun, the slide. Similar nozzle, you'll take the spring and the what most people call a restrictor valve. You'll put that in there, press it down, and then hold that down, or just launched it at myself. Let me find that here. We'll put it back in there. You're going to want to hold that down, and actually there's a pin on the side you'll want to tap in. Hold it down with a small punch, and then it allows you to drive that pin in so it'll hold it completely, compress that spring without it coming back and flying out like you just saw it do. And then you can tap the pin all the way through, and it'll actually hold it, and the valve will be fully assembled then, and you can install it onto the blowback unit. Make sure you tap that, get all nice and flush so it doesn't hang up on anything inside the gun. Then install that with the horns pointing up, which is where you're going to have to now install the nozzle return springs. There's 2 of them, 1 on each side. Sliding them onto the nozzle first seems to be the easiest way for me. Maybe easier for you to install the other way. Just take your fingernail, slide them over the horns on the nozzle, and then you'll take a small punch, stretch that spring, and move it to the horn of the blowback unit, and just take your fingernail and actually just slide it over. That locks that one in place, and you'll repeat that with the second one. Alright, so that's basically you just rebuilt the entire blowback unit and housing of the slide itself. You're going to take a spring and detent into the back of the blowback housing unit, and then there's this little detent that goes on the side that actually locks the back of that housing unit in place underneath the slide. So take a small punch underneath that where you actually remove the Allen screw. Helps me line up the small detent that goes in there that the screw actually holds in place, and it screws up into the rear sight. It holds that in place, so it makes the installation of the screw go a lot smoother. So you just hold it together. Make sure and compress that detent in the back. Line it all up. Take a small punch, and you're going to depress that detent in the back, allowing the back of that to snap into place, and then you'll be able to snap the front of the blowback housing unit in place. Once that is in, hold that in place with your thumb, reinstall your rear sight, and then you'll want to install the Allen screw on the bottom of the blowback unit. Make sure your screws lined up with the rear sight, and then tighten it down. Make sure not to over tighten these, because you will strip out the threads on that rear sight. Reinstall your barrel. Slide the front of it in first, then slide the barrel forward within the slide, locking it back against the nozzle. Then reinstall your guide rod and recoil spring. Make sure it lines up, because if you don't have that lined up, it will not fit back on the gun. Slide the slide onto the frame. Pull the slide back and line up the notch that's cut out of the slide on for the slide catch to be installed. Reinstall your slide catch. you're good to go.